I don't care what I'm trying to grow. If I'm working from fear and holding off and doing what I truly want to be doing because of fear, one of the lowest vibrational states to be working out of, I'm not going to have great success in doing whatever I'm doing. So conquering that thing is a big part of why I'm doing this in the first place. This is A Day with Clay. So I guess this is it. This is episode 1. This is what we've been waiting for. Today I want to go back and talk about what I talked about in the first episode of the introduction about fear. I think a lot of people hide from that word and feel very negatively about that word and keep a very strong negative relationship with the word fear, and therefore some people mask it as well. But I have to tell you that fear is the, I would say, most dominant, prominent factor as to why I didn't start this show sooner than I did. Because as I said before, this has been a brain baby of mine since I decided I wanted to move to Mexico, which was almost 2 years ago now. And to me, waiting 2 years to do something that I know that I really love doing and want to do more of took me so long to do because I was afraid, right? Am I ashamed to admit that I was afraid of such a little thing, of just taking a video? Was I afraid of people's opinions? Maybe. As much as I think I'm a person who doesn't really care about people's opinions, I still think I have an underlying need to be liked by people. I think I always have. It's kind of like for the people that are my generation, it's TJ Detweiler syndrome, where I didn't like having people not like me. I know I've given that up a lot, and it's not like a crippling disease that I have or anything like that. It's very minor. I guess I could also say then I was afraid of the rejection of if people didn't enjoy listening to this or watching this. And so I guess that's the part of fearing of failure as well, tied into that. Because then if I'm afraid of failing, if I were to take that chain of commands backwards, what would be happening? And one of those things would be because it didn't catch on, because people didn't find it interesting, which means people didn't listen, which means I would, I guess, eventually feel the need to quit and have to move to something else. I don't know. That's why fear is such a powerful tool, and also why it is like one of the lowest vibrational states to be working out of. So I don't care what I'm trying to grow. If I'm working from fear and holding off and doing what I truly want to be doing because of fear, I'm not going to have great success in doing whatever I'm doing. So conquering that thing is a big part of why I'm doing this in the first place. Because I honestly think that despite me only being 32 years old, I think I have some wild stories. I've had a lot of very unique experiences and have learned a few things along the way about things that I never would have thought I would ever learn about. And so to think about pouring my heart out like that and really doing something that I love to do, that if I failed, that would create so much pain in my world. How's that for some fear? So this is me hoping that you get something out of this. Meanwhile, selfish ass me is sitting here doing this for me because me showing up to this is what is going to propel me to doing all the things that I want to do in my life, because it's following what my heart really wants to be doing. And to think that fear held that back, it's so silly. But let's continue to break this down. What else was I afraid of? We've already got fear of rejection, fear of not being accepted, fear of failure, and surprisingly, the fear of success. How about the fear of judgment? I hold a lot of very strong opinions that I am very passionate about and have zero problem being able to explain to people the steps in which I use to process and make my decisions and choose to have the beliefs that I do. I actually love having those conversations. But when we see social media right now, so much attention is going towards people nitpicking people apart. Instead of celebrating the fact that they're out there doing something and trying to help people with something that they're passionate about, they're picking at people apart. Like, look at people in the fitness industry telling you about macronutrients and all this stuff and the battle over different eating modalities. Like, why are we fighting over like so heavily and tearing other people in their professions down and making them trying to make them look stupid just to support your own ideologies and your own opinion based on the facts presented to us? Hold on. Oh yeah, and I drink hydrogen water. Guess what? I'm going to talk about it. But anyways, back to judgment. So in seeing all this combative energy and all this negative energy towards each other, I guess a part of me deep down inside there was afraid of other people's judgment and other people's criticism, but I don't know exactly why. Maybe I'm afraid of being proven wrong, even though I'm not. I am not opposed to being wrong. If I'm wrong about something, it means I learned something. And to me, that is so valuable. So I don't think it's that. Or maybe part of me feared being made look silly or being made fun of or being questions on things that I didn't have an answer for. I wasn't prepared for. Or maybe that I just felt ill-equipped. How about the fear of not knowing what the fuck you're doing? So many people see anyone that's worth listening to having a degree, having a specialty, having a big diploma or a trophy or a world famous renowned something. But I'm just me. And who gave me the rights or the privilege to try and be someone of influence that has conversations and am able to help shift the way one person may feel about something. So what else could I have been afraid of? I wonder if there could be a sense of fear of responsibility in there. Like my plans for life are very ambitious and I set a very high standard for myself. So being able to execute on the things that I want to be able to execute on require a high sense of responsibility. And maybe I felt that I put a lot of pressure on myself in order to fulfill that. So it's interesting to take that perspective and take that awareness and take that with you and say, where else am I doing this in my life? Where else am I thinking about fear too much and I'm making decisions based out of fear? I think myself and a lot of other people have all made decisions out of fear. But then the whole point of getting better is how do I tap into myself and do what it is that I'm afraid of doing to push through that limitation. Ooh, I got another one. I am scared right now. The fear of the unknown and just sitting here talking in front of the camera is such a different concept and such a different reality than having a conversation face to face. I'm a conversation junkie. I love sitting down with a friend and having a good full-hearted conversation. Anyone that knows me knows this, that I'm a sucker. And to think that I let fear make myself feel this way and feel anxious, like my heart is racing doing these videos. It's hilarious. Like, how long is that going to last? It's such a silly fear to have. I've spent a lot of time on camera doing real estate. I was one of the first people to start being face to face and bringing my personality to my listing videos when I had a new listing in real estate. And so I've spent a fair time being on camera, and I had a podcast in the past. Like, I actually really miss having that podcast. It was the Conscious Business podcast with me and two good friends of mine, Jesse and Justin. And honestly, it was just the best time ever. I maybe got nervous the first couple times. We all had our jitters, but once we got going and we did like 8 episodes, and it was so much fun, and got to the point where we had a producer. We were getting all these videos made and then making all the reels and shorts based on it. And then more or less I moved to Mexico. So that ended that fairly abruptly. And just now, 2 years later, the guys are picking it back up and bringing the Conscious Business podcast back to life. I don't know if they're posting the episodes that we had canned. We had like 8 episodes canned, and we only ever released 3 of them. We had 3, so it was 3 seasons. We did one recording session that took about 2 hours, and we would chop that up into 10, 15, 20-minute pieces and call those episodes within a season. And we filmed 11 seasons before I moved to Mexico and had it all canned up, and we had this plan about it. And it was such a cool thing. We called ourselves the the most downloaded and listened to podcast within a 2-kilometer radius of Mill Lake Park in Abbotsford. And those of you who live in the area, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And we thought it was pretty funny. Either way, that was just the best time. So to think that I would be scared to come back and just have a conversation, I already feel like right now my nerves are calming and I feel more relaxed and feel more comfortable with it. So what I'm getting at is all this is going to progress and all this is going to get better, eventually. Like I said, I don't know what it's going to turn into, if it's going to be back and forth, what my schedule is going to be like, how often I'm going to post it. I don't know, but I'm no longer afraid of it. And so I'm just going to show up and I'm going to do it. And showing up is the biggest part, because that is how I know that I am truly conquering my fear and allowing myself to grow to the potential that I know I can grow at. And it's very aligned, and it feels a lot better. I have a feeling I'm going to be feeling a little bit lighter over the next little bit. And I wouldn't be surprised if things just start flowing, and maybe it's because I get to do more of what I like to do, which means I'm going to be a happier, better operating version of myself. And that's what this is all about. So I guess that's my take on fear for this certain application for my Day with Clay project here. But hey, that's all I got for today. We can talk about a lot more in another episode. Who knows when or what that will be, but it'll be here. We'll get her sorted one way or another. Like it, share it, subscribe. Let's have a cool conversation about it.